Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. So, who do we have here? Can you guys hear me okay? See me okay? Ayushman is here. Penguin with some Korean or Japanese, I think maybe Korean. I don't know. um, alphabets or writing. Says hello, it's Rick's 3 a.m. Okay, let's see who else is here. Then I'll get back to you guys. Then we have Stephen is here. Then we have Adam. Miyamoto Aaron. Guys, don't forget about age, gender, where you tuning in from. I got to know what your age is, what your gender is, and what city or country you're watching this program. That helps me a little bit to know you while I don't know you. As much as I can know you while I don't know you. so, so come on now. Sprech. Spit it out. All right. Let's go on with the first caller. Ayushman Seth says, my ex made me wait for her for 3 years, that she would meet me casually and do what other couples do, as we couldn't do because of house restrictions, then left me very coldly. Now she's in different city for studies. Now she goes out casually with other guys. Just after 4 or 5 months of breakup, she left the town. I feel betrayed, as she didn't do all these with me or when she got accessibility to meet. First of all, let me know your age and her age and what background you have, like what country it is. Before I address any of these questions, I got to know those things. So you guys, you'll go to the end of the line if you don't have that in your questions. And Ayushma says, do meet and do nothing, do things. She didn't try connect me, as she made fake promises and made me stay in that relationship by giving promises that one day she will make everything right. I'm 23, male, India. You should have said that at the beginning. I'm 23, male. How old is she? And says, hello, sir, male, 23, male, India. Okay, now you said all that. Okay. Now, how old is she? Come on, guys. This is a this is a live stream, so I need as much information as I can right at the beginning of your questions, so we can get on with it. Otherwise, it becomes a private one-on-one, which for that you got to go to my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Here it is, www.mindthatseekstruth.com. Here you can make an appointment for Skype chat, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype, and you can take all the time you want, because then you're paying for it. Here, I got to go on as fast as I can with short questions. Don't turn this into a one-on-one consulting session, because that's not what this live stream is for. So the ones who are coming here just to have a laundry list and go on for 25, 30 minutes for discussion, that won't happen. I just can't do it. 5 minutes tops for each one of you. So make your questions clear with all the information I need, so I don't have to go back and forth. And then I'll do my best to address it as short as possible. Again, any further discussions, you got to go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, make an appointment, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Now, Ayushman, 23, and she is 21. So that means for 3 years, you were 20 and she was 17, or she was 18. First of all, when you say she made me wait, she didn't. You waited for her. It's like you go to a store. I mean, it's a crude example, but it's like you go to a store and you say, you've got peaches. And he says, yeah, just wait a second, I'll bring it. And you wait for 2 hours, no peach coming out. And you still keep waiting for another 5 hours. That's on you. You got to figure out that store doesn't have any peaches. It's not going to bring it out. It's just keeping you waiting maybe he'll be able to buy some piece from the other store, bring it to resell it to you. Something like that. Same thing. When a girl tells you, keeps you waiting for longer than usual, then it's on you if you keep waiting for her. And she actually loses interest when you're waiting too long because she figures, oh, he must be really desperate and he can't get any other girl. Why would I want to be with someone who can't get any other girl? Because he's hanging around me while I'm giving him nothing, no time, no outing, no date, no kisses, no hand holding, no nothing, and he's still hanging around. So you will start looking like a loser to her. And most women don't have enough confidence in themselves. They want something that they can't get. And if something is too available to them, they feel that what is available to them and pays attention to them is not worthy enough for them. That's not because you're not worthy, it's because they don't have enough confidence that they believe if someone is standing hand or foot on them, that someone is not valuable because they don't think they're valuable to deserve such attention and service. So when she keeps you waiting for about a month and she doesn't go out with you, do anything with you, that's your cue is you got to move out. Move on to another girl, another opportunity, a decent, balanced relationship that involves communication, conversations, outings, have some tea, have some coffee, some outings, some sports activities, some maybe discussions of what you guys feel about each other, eventually maybe holding hand and so on. And something romantic that you can create. But if she doesn't give you time of day and she keeps wants you to wait, well, that's because she's trying to keep her confidence up by having your attention around her while she actually hasn't chosen you to be the one for her and she's looking for her whatever. So you're fluffing her up by your attention and she feels good about it and she presents herself with confidence because she's got some guy like you who actually paying attention to her and waiting around for her. So if she feels fluffed up and she goes in front of any other situation, any other person, and she feels very confident and she plays the act of, I don't need you. Why? Because there's some sucker back there is sucking up to my heels. And so I don't need to be so eager. And that not being eager entices that other guy to be coming forward. And so she gets some kind of a relationship while she's shopping around, but doesn't feel like lonely because she has you paying attention to her. So when it takes a bit long, maybe if you ask a girl out for once and she says, oh, yeah, it's one wonderful idea, but I don't have time. I'll let you know. And then you ask another time from her, like maybe a few days later, say, okay, what about it? What about now? How is your time? And she says, yeah. What do you want to do? And she says, you say something. And she says, oh, it's a very good idea. But okay, we'll talk about it. And then you come up and say, okay, what about that good idea? Or can we do it? How about next Sunday? And she says, oh, well, it's a very good idea. I like that. But, Sunday, it's not good for me. I just can't do it. So second time. Third time you ask her, you say, oh, yeah, that's great. Let's do that. But I can't do it. I got to go here and there. In every situation, she doesn't give you when she can do it. She just says, it's a good idea, but I can't do it. But she never says, however, I can do it the day after, or I can do it such and such day. When such suggestions don't back up their unavailability, when you suggest an outing, that's your cue that she's just not making an effort to get acquainted or make something out of this. And when she's not making an effort, you cannot be interested for both of you. And you should not take that role that you're constantly calling and trying to make them leave it. That's when you say, oh, okay, I understand. Listen, I've given you a few suggestions that you seem to like. and you expressed yourself to me in such a way that I thought you liked me and I was interested in you to get to know you better. However, it seems to me every time I make a suggestion, you're not available and you're not making any suggestion when we can do it. So that tells me it's not appropriate for me to call you anymore. If you wanted to get us to know each other, um, just give me a call, make an effort, make a plan, suggest something, and we'll discuss it then. Okay? I wish you a wonderful day. And you move on. And you never call her again. And if she does call you, then you assess it if it's worth or not. Otherwise, you keep hanging on there. Here it is. Takes 3 years and you were still hanging around for what? Propping her for somebody else? Giving her confidence without getting anything? What for? What are you guys such suckers that's so easily waiting around for years for a girl to what? And eventually that girl who is expecting someone to take charge, to make suggestions and make availability of time and make things work, maybe a little gently persistence, or somehow show a certain kind of a necessity for response, positive response, and if not, you won't be available. When you don't do these things, well, girls simply go to someone who's available and kind of gently and respectfully persists to a point to get any result. And if there is no result, that person leaves. A man with certain kind of standards and respect for himself does not hang around a girl when the girl, for whatever reason, is not interested or doesn't show enough interest. That's on you if you hang around. You're not supposed to expect, oh, because I did this, she has to do this. No, they don't. Not necessarily. Not everyone is the same. They have the right to choose the date that they want to go out with, and they make the decisions for their lives. You don't own them. They're free people, and they do whatever they want to do, as you should. So if you suggest something, it doesn't, meet with their agreement, that's their prerogative, and you should respect that. But also, you should respect yourself and move on. Go to another girl. There's so many amazing girls out there. Why one? Why is it that one? Because you're lazy. She smiled at you. She talked to you for a few seconds, and that means, oh, I've got it. She's interested in me, so I don't want to go any. I want to be loyal to her. No, you're loyal when she shows loyalty and when it gets to a certain stage. Otherwise, what are you loyal for? What are you hanging around for? Don't be such a needy person. So that's on you, Ayushman. So learn from it and move on, and don't even think about, oh, she's going out with other people. She didn't do it for me or with me. So big deal. So she didn't do it. So what? What have you lost? Huh? Attention of a woman who doesn't want to give you attention. You lost that? Or you shouldn't want that to begin with. Anyhow, we have expression in Farsi that says, die for someone who at least gets a fever for you. Meaning, if she doesn't have any feeling or emotion or care about you, why are you so sacrificing yourself for her? At least if she, gets some, I don't know, shivers or fever for you, then at least you could justify that you're willing to die for her. But if not, why are you putting out so much? Don't have the respect for yourself? That's the problem. You guys should learn to have respect for yourself. Your need and desire for pleasure is not justification or qualification for the girl that you want to be with. You're in love with your desire for pleasure. You're in love for desire to be in a relationship. That's not being in love with the girl, and that's not what qualifies a girl. That just qualifies the fact that you're a man and you want a relationship. That's all. But wanting that so much should not be a reason to qualify any Tom, Dick, and Harry, or in this case, Susan, Jackie, and Sylvia, to mind you, today any shit goes. So, so there should be a reason for you to qualify, Janet, Susan, and Jennifer. Your desire is not a reason to qualify just any girl who happen to be around. That's your desire, but you got to find out what they have to offer. Hmm? All right. Let's move on to Penguin. Penguin says, "Hello, it's Rick's 3M. I don't get it. Oh, you changed your name from Rick's 3M to Penguin? Okay. He says, thank you, sir, for the advices. It helped me a lot with the HOCD. I would like to ask how to manage compulsion thoughts like repetitive behavior. Well, for that, I have a video and a text that anybody who makes an appointment with me for Skype chat, I will include that text of Dr. Schwartz 4 steps. And the video that I have, I'm going to put it up here. It's for you to look at because I can't go through it. It's too elaborate. And that's where you actually learn how to rewire your brain through the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, who spent all his life for learning and understanding and describing and remedying, dealing and managing and educating people on OCD. And so you will understand the relationship between obsession and compulsion, which is the goal finding center, I call it, because you have obsession. The compulsion is goal finding, is when you obsession for washing your hands, and the washing your hands is the goal that you want to reach. So that circle is going to be stimulated when you have an obsession and you want to wash your hands, which is the compulsion. And at the same time, that while you're taking care of that particular emotion, need, you're also stimulating the second circle, second center in the striatum, and that is called the dopamine center, reward center. So every time you do the compulsion for the obsession, you get an awe feeling. I feel my hands are clean now. And that awe also secretes dopamine, which makes you feel great. And at the same time, without your knowledge, while the center for reward is being stimulated every time you do the compulsion, you're also unknowingly stimulating the center for habit, the habit center. All these three are on top of each other in striatum in midbrain basal ganglia. So after a while of doing the compulsion for the obsession, every time you think my hands are dirty, you repeat, you wash your hands or something else that you repeatedly do it, you're also getting the dopamine. Dopamine is addictive. So after a while, you're no longer doing it just for the obsession, you're doing it to get the dopamine and you're not aware of it. And after 1,000 times doing it, you're no longer doing it for the obsession or the dopamine. You may be part of it, but you're actually doing it without knowledge of why you're doing it, because that became your habit, because you've been stimulating the habit center all along without you noticing it. That's when it becomes more difficult to get rid of the OCD. So that's why the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz allows you to stop this continuous stimulation of these centers, so you won't get to your habit center. You break it before that, and it'll be much better, much more manageable at that stage. So knowledge will set you free, and then you will learn all the other experiments that Dr. Schwartz explains in his lectures about the habit center, which is based on a brilliant study of Professor Anne Grable, and with her postgraduate student, Carl Smith, which they did an experiment on rats and showed how habit is so amazingly powerful and important, to the point that even if the rat knows that there is a drug in something that the rat is interested to use, to eat, and knows that if he eats that, it's going to make him have a convulsion or want to vomit, but still does it because he has become its habit. And through that experiment, which is elaborate, and I don't want to go into it right now, clearly explains how that develops. Same thing. You should not allow the OCD get to the habit center, because then you won't even realize that you're doing it, and you'll do it without thinking that there are so many steps you're taking to do something, because the cluster of movements in the brain to the brain seems like one movement. That's one of the other uh, results that Dr. Grable came with it. It's like when you ask someone who just came out of the store and is, sitting somewhere and smoking, and you ask them, say, "Sir, are you aware that you just went to a store and you bought a pack of cigarette, you opened the cellophane wrap, and you tear up the package, you took one cigarette out, you put it on your lip, and you put a fire 2 inches to your face?" He says, "No, I'm just aware that I'm smoking." So the cluster of all these actions to lead to the smoking, all these components that form this smoking thing, to that person is only one movement, because his brain didn't recognize all these other movements. The cluster of movements and actions seemed only one. That's because it had become a habit. And that is why you don't want your OCD and your what you're doing repetitively becomes your habit. So you got to be aware of how it leads into this continuous movement. It becomes hard for you to stop, not because you don't know, because it's become your habit, and the habit is automatic. The brain no longer recognizes what you're doing versus what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing, because it can't recognize it's a habit, it's the brain deciding it, or it's just something else. So short of the long is that I'll put that video up here for you. All right. That explains for you, Dr. Schwartz, 4 steps of relabel, reframe, refocus, and reevaluate. There you go. All right. Steven says, "Hello, Marin." Hello, Steven. Mail 42 Los Angeles. Thank you for that. So I've been listening to all of your emails on repeat. You said I can choose to be happy, and I want to. I really do. It's the selective memories that are part of my problem. Again, you choose to simply acknowledge the memory, but not think of the memory as reality. You got to focus that memory is the past, and the past is dead, regardless of how you know, um, ruminate on it. It's still non-existence. What's the good of thinking about, oh, last year I was in Paris, I was in France, and I went to this vineyard, and the grapes were so delicious, so delicious. Okay, you keep remembering this. Yeah, it was delicious. But once you come out of the memory, do you have the grapes? Is it in front of you? Are you tasting it? Is it actuality? It was just a memory. You can't live with a memory. You will get a high out of it for a moment, but then you get a sharp low, because when you come to, you see, well, that was just a fiction. It's no longer real. But I want the real. And because it's so available to you without any effort, you will be hooked on this artificial feeling and emotion that you should be getting from the actual action, but you're too lazy to go get it. So you settle for this memory of emotion, and your whole life becomes a depression stage for you, because you're not doing anything to bring anything into actuality, because you're satisfied with the emotion that the memory gives you, because you can get the same emotion. When you think about the grape in Paris last year, well, you can taste it. But if you're going to put up with that, and that would be enough for you, you will never go to get real good grapes. And you will always wonder, why don't I have real grapes? Because you have settled and decided, chose to enjoy the memory and chose not to give up the memory because you think it's a sin to give the memory up because it tastes so good, even though it's not real, but I'm willing to put up with the unrealistic experience, untrue, unreal, a dead memory, a memory of a taste of something, than actually going and taste something. I don't know if it makes sense to you or not, but I'm sure it does. So you're choosing to think and replace the actual life for the death of the past. So when you're in the memory all the time, you're living in the past, and past is dead. So your life becomes the death of the past. So your actuality of life becomes in death of the past. What good is that? You're living in virtuality. So you got to understand this and move away from it. You got to make a decision. This business of, oh, I want to, but I feel so good. Oh, fuck you. That's all your life going to be. 20 years from now, you're sitting and say, but it was so good. When she was there, I could text her and I could have intimacy with her. What the fuck are you talking about? Wasting your life. These are all your choices. Nobody's pressuring you to hang around there. You're just choosing to live with the memory of something that no longer exists and is dead. So your life is going to be dead. Death of the past. I'm saying get your ass up and go create livelihood. You want to ride a bike? Go get a bike and sit on it and ride it. Livelihood, actuality. Instead of, oh, it was such a good bike ride last year. I went through the forests and whatever the fuck it was. You're the only one responsible for the quality of life that you have. We're not talking about devastation of government taking up your money or anything. They haven't done that yet. They may in the future, but they haven't done that yet. So you have the basics of life. You have your home, you have your money, you have your job. The rest of it, you're choosing to be miserable because you have given a certain value to this bullshit relationship that you had, and you're so lazy to go and make another one that you're settling with the memory of that pleasurable, selective memories, as if that is actually going to advance your life and give you a real experience of livelihood. So if you understand this and you're still hanging around there, it's on you. Nobody else. You can spend your time and money on me and send questions, and I send you videos or will send you recording. But as long as you don't take action, none of them it's just soothing you. Just making you relax and give you false hope as you're giving yourself false hope. What do you keep thinking about this memory? What's the end game? Okay, you thought of it 1,000 times. Oh, it was so good. It's no different than masturbating, than not having real sex. It's something, but at least it's some actual action at the real moment is happening. You're doing something. It's a new experience, even this masturbating. But the idea is that you're not really going after the actual experience of that reality and bringing in the actuality, but you're moving on your imagination. You're trying to create a pleasant atmosphere for yourself with your imagination. So you hide into a virtual world instead of the actual world is out there, and go and experience and turn things into real actuality. Whose fault is that? That's on you. She's not stopping you. Your memory is, which is yours. You are the one who's stopping yourself from getting actually a real life experience. So on that note, keep making appointments and I'll talk to you. And don't fucking keep sending me those those $10 questions, because after a while you're gonna get used to that, and then you're still just waiting for these recordings to come and make you feel hopeful. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to get out there and see, ask a couple of girls out, be turned down, and then go on to the next and go on to the next until you get a thick skin And you keep asking until somebody says, yeah, sure, I'll go out with you. And that's the way you do it. All right. Adam says, good evening. I'm currently in the process of recovering from HOCD, and I feel really delicate. All right. I feel like the whole thing has left me a shell of myself. Yeah, that's what HOCD does. If you don't know what it is, you get fooled by it, and then you lose all your, you know, hope and your balanced feelings because you think there's some kind of a threat behind you, but there is no threat. It's a suggestion of the brain, malfunction of the signaling system of the brain. And just as there is no threat when people, at least it's out there, if people keep telling you some bullshit and want to make advance, sexual advance of you, it's an actual, and there is some threat there. 'Cause of course, you can defend yourself and all that, but I mean, it's an actuality out there that some physical entity making a threat or a suggestion that is not in line with your values. But when you are having bombarded or some kind of a mental disorder, such as OCD and HOCD, there is no danger. Nothing can happen to you. It's a virtual suggestions. And out there, if people make suggestions to you, you say, well, I'm not interested. Thank you. You go by. That's it. You walk by. And this one, there is no entity. It's just a suggestion. It's just an idea. And that idea can never by itself alone become any actuality or part of your life because you're the boss. Ultimately, no matter what suggestion, images, whatever feelings or false feelings or whatever bullshit happens into your head or body, feeling, emotions, whatever, none of them can ever do anything to you because you are the ultimate boss. Nothing moves in this life without your choices or your vetoes. If you choose something, you choose to act on it. That's the only thing that any suggestion, thought, image, or whatever can ever become a reality in any shape or form. Otherwise, on its own, without your consent, without your power, without your choosing it, it can never, never see the light of day. It just scares you, but can't become any force, cannot do anything to you. Because the ultimate power in our human beings are choices and vetoes. Nothing can touch you. It can bother the hell out of you because it's like a threat. It's against your values. But it can never actually do anything to you. If you can realize that, then you'll settle down and say, okay, that's bullshit thought. To my values, people are different, but to your values, to your standards, to your gatekeeper, to your wise advocate, to your super consciousness, to your principles, that's not your lifestyle. So if it's not your lifestyle, nothing can change it. No idea, no suggestions, no feelings, no images, none of that. But you think it can because the brain is so powerful and it's bugging you to be there because you're a perfectionist and you say, I'm away from all these things. I know who I am and I don't want any interference or any suggestions that are not in line with my values. But listen, you got to be able to be relaxed about it. Nothing can touch you, nothing can bother you as long as you understand that you're the boss and you can allow thoughts exist. Thoughts cannot threaten you. They can annoy you because they're not in line with your values. They're contrary to your lifestyle, your values. Yes, but it cannot do anything to you. So in that way, instead of resisting and trying to destroy it and try to decimate it, stop it from happening, coming to your head or whatnot, instead say, look, just as I allow and tolerate and understand that all other lifestyles and all other peoples, including birds and animals and mentalities and habits and preferences out there can exist in this real world, I also accept that all thoughts and suggestions and bullshit, whatever it comes to head, can also, as a form of thought, can also exist. I allow thoughts to exist. So what's the resistance there? The thoughts come and they see no energy resisting back or forth or for. So they will have nothing to hang on to. There would be no energy for them to engage with. There's no interaction of hate or distraction or being bothered or whatnot. You just say, okay, that's a thought that is not in line with my values. Okay, you can be there. But I make my own suggestions. I make my own decisions. I make my own preferences. And I make my own choices and vetoes. So what does it bother me? Whatever the thought shows. Yes, I understand. It's annoying. It's very disturbing because it's not in line with your values. And you think something is attacking your very fiber of identity and being. But that is just a thought. It's a virtual suggestion, has no actual power or truth to it. You know, it's just a distraction. When you say, I allow thoughts exist, so they exist and you recognize them and you go by. You don't have to do anything with them. You don't have to resist them. You don't have to put them aside. You don't have to kill them. You don't have to do anything. They're just contradictory to your lifestyle and your preferences. Like so many other things in the world are contradictory to my preferences. From the fucking government to so many other things that they're indoctrinating children in the schools and all the other shit that is going around in all different topics and aspects. But I don't concern myself with them if I don't need to. And I do my best to whatever extent I can to be positive and help to set things right if that is what I need to do. Otherwise, to each his own. I'm choosing my own path and I'm navigating my own life in this universe and this shithole that human beings and politicians have created on this earth. But I still navigate based on my choices and vetoes. So as best as I can. So I don't have to fight and be angry and whatnot for all other type of things that exist. As long as I navigate my own way, I don't care. Same thing when the brain comes up with all these things, I have the ultimate power, my vetoes and choices. So I allow all thoughts to exist. I don't have to agree with them or to abide by them or to be interested in them. I just recognize that's a thought that I'm not interested in. Okay, great. I go. I walk in the street. There's so many things on the side of the streets, all kinds of garbage, all kinds of, I don't know, dog poo, all kinds of, things that I'm not interested, or merchandise being sold that I'm not interested, or all kinds of things. What do? I don't stand there. I spend time with them. I recognize them and quickly I know that they're not of my interest and I move on, negotiate my way to where I want to go. Same thing with thoughts. Thoughts show up, I recognize them, that this is not what I'm interested in, and then I go. And for that, we have the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, which you can choose when you see a thought showing up. Well, simple. You relabel it, meaning you explain it to yourself. You reframe it. You say, well, I feel anxious now. Is there something wrong? Or do I feel something? No. You reframe it, explain it. And then once you realize it's a thought and, it's just a feeling, it's not necessarily actuality, that anything is wrong, then you refocus it to something positive, as simple as drinking tea. And you focus your energy on this. Or, watching, some scenery of nature, or maybe listen to some nice music. You change that to something positive. And the brain eventually revalues this whole process. And after a while you're doing it, automatically all these 4 steps happens in nanosecond. And then it becomes automatically all these intrusive thought that shows up, the brain naturally and automatically handles it through the 4 steps, but doesn't even recognize it, just goes through all of them, reevaluates it and moves on. That's how you rewire your brain, and it's explained in the in Dr. Schwartz's explanation, which I've made a video on it, and then you will probably enjoy it. All right. Having said that, let's move on to Miyamoto. Miyamoto says, I have forgotten that today is Saturday and was just about to sleep. Oh, okay. And Adam, okay. Aaron Sweets is talking to Adam, I guess. All right. Adam, your fear can never come true. Your fear can never come true because you have the ultimate power in your life, not your brain. Brain is not you, you're not the brain. Remember, I've mentioned that many times. We lived for millions of years before we got this brain. So there was a you before the brain. Brain is an added component, a tool, an apparatus was added to you. So the brain is not you. Brain is an addition to one of your organs, an ability, a tool you can use, calculate things, learn things, do things, invent things, make things, whatever. But it by itself also uses its own apparatus, makes thoughts. So it's not just your thoughts. Brain has its own function and thoughts. And brain wants to be you. So it wants to engage you by attacking something that is so valuable to you. You have to understand you're not the brain, brain is not you. So what it does is on itself, it's not you, it's not pertaining you. And don't get bogged down that because it's on your head and it came to your head, then it must be you. It's not you. Until 40,000 years ago, we didn't have this brain. We were just stem brain. Everything was instinctive, like animals. Run, hunt, sleep, have sex, and no questions whatsoever what our gender is and something is changing or none of intrusive thoughts, none of that shit. Why? Because we had no ability to think or speak words. There were no words to have meanings and kind of direct your attention to a certain meaning of a word in a dictionary, and then you have to combat that meaning of that word. There was no such thing. There was no thoughts. So therefore, everything was instinctive, everything was pure, everything was just as it was. But since 40,000 years ago, when we got this brain and learned to think, thought has started these problems. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. So all these are thoughts. When you notice that you're not the brain, brain is not you, and you're not the thoughts and thoughts are not you, then you notice that you're separated from the brain. Brain is its own apparatus. That you're the boss. You were here before the brain, and there are aspects of you and the mind that brain cannot even reach, according to the video that was put together by me based on the research of Dr. Ignar about the experiments of Dr. Speary, Dr. Libet, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Owens. It showed clearly that the talks of Aristotle since 1,000 years ago in regards to dualism and against materialism, and then later on, modern science was able to prove actually what Aristotle was talking about. It showed and proved beyond a shadow of the doubt that there are aspects of the mind and you that the brain cannot even reach, let alone be your boss. It has its powers on the body and so on, but ultimately, you are the one who navigates based on your choices and vetoes. So never be scared of what fears you, because no thoughts or emotions, feelings, or images or suggestions can ever change you because you have the ultimate power. You're the boss. Understand that. You're the one that can help the brain to rewire itself. You're the one that can program the brain to rewire itself through neuroplasticity. So understand the hierarchy. You're number one. Brain is following you. So you got to teach it rather than thinking that it can actually change you. When you were being made in the womb of your mother, brain wasn't even available, wasn't even functional. So brain had nothing to do with your inclination, gender, or genetics and anything else. So now brain cannot and thought cannot have anything to do with changing it either. When it wasn't involved in making you the way you are, it is not and cannot ever be involved in turning you, changing you from how you've been made and put together. So don't be afraid, live your life, learn how to rewire your brain. It's one of your organs, just like any other organ that gets sick, you help it. Your liver, your kidney, all have enzymes and this and that. Something goes wrong with it, your knee gets hurt, you learn how to heal it. Same thing. Brain is the same. It's not you, it's another organ. You got to help it, see how you can help it to regain its default setting. All right, having said all that, Aaron, 23, male, Netherlands. Thank you for that. Yep. Right, Stephen. And Ayushman is 21. And Miyagi is male, 18, from India. Okay. Steven, stop talking nonsense. Do I need to tell you that, yes, I think you will have someone definitely as you always hoped for and you will have your own family? Do you really need somebody else to tell you that? You want it and you know it can be done. So go get it done. You don't need anybody else's or your brain to assure you of that or me to tell you that. You know, I would have been a millionaire if every time you wanted an assurance, I would have charged you like 10, $20. Maybe I should do that. But if you want to save yourself money, it's just understand you don't need anyone's assurances. Just go make it happen. That's it. Ayushman, I don't understand what this sentence is. No, sir, she begged, even begged my friend to make to stay. I don't understand what that means. Daniel says, hey, Meran, 37-year-old, Amsterdam. I just came out of a 5-month relationship with a 26-year-old woman. I initiated the breakup. Can you maybe talk a bit about letting a woman into your life? Talk about it. You don't need to let them in; they just come in. They have open door. We boys don't have a door. The door is open. You're a woman. You're wearing high heels. Come on in. We don't have much standards, do we? And that's why we're always in trouble. So I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, you know, 26-year-old girl is still not ready. Some are, some not ready. Um, but you got to assess them. Just don't think because you're 37, they're 26, then therefore they're qualified because they're young and fit or whatever. No, you don't live with their youth or fitness as much as important as that is. That's for sure. I understand that. But you live with their consciousness. You got to understand what their values are, what their goals are, what their level of loyalty and commitment to relationships. How much do they want that to be done with you? If those things are not met, doesn't matter how good looking she is. You can't live and create the relationship with the good looks. I mean, that's important, but it's not what it makes it work. You know, often we all had extraordinarily beautiful women in our lives, and often we actually end up having a relationship with not the one that is the most beautiful, but the one that is most qualified and wonderful all around. The heart, the one who's got the most beautiful heart, emotions, dedication, loyalty, positivity, hopefulness, backing you up, feeling you, and staying alert, same values. That's what you build a relationship with. A nice ass and a boob and all these do-ups, everybody can do that. Today, everybody does that. So every woman is beautiful and fit today. But you don't have a relationship with fitness or looks, again, as important as that is, as part of it. But you make relationship with the heart, with the consciousness, with the emotions, with dedication, with all the things that I named. So, I don't know what your question is. You broke up with her because you initiated it, but talking about letting a woman into your life, well, I just did. It's not as easy, it's not as simple as, oh, she's beautiful, so she's qualified. And most of us guys think that way. When we see a beautiful girl, we automatically give her all the credentials that the woman that we desire should have. Like if she's beautiful and sexy, we also think she's smart. We also think she's responsible. She's reasonable. She's affectionate. She's loyal. She's, all that, or smart and intelligent, or same, I don't know, political persuasion. We give it all that without even asking or trying to find out. So we carte blanche, we just give her all the good qualities that we expect our woman to have to someone who just because she looks beautiful and smiles and agrees with a couple of things that you like. She says, oh, she's perfect. How? Because your dick is up. Otherwise, you haven't really known anything about her. And that same beautiful face could be a devil in a second if she doesn't get what she wants or she doesn't have the capacity to be reasonable, understand, cooperative, and want to make a life. So it's a beast, like every one of us. Just because she looks pretty, that doesn't mean that she's of good quality. It's what's in here. She could be all fucked up in here. Bipolar, schizophrenia, all other kind of fucked up things that are here. The human psyche is work in progress. So you can't just think somebody's shell is beautiful, is also got all the credentials that you want, balance and perfection. No, we all have to work on our psyche because the human psyche is really fucked up. So once you understand the inner qualities and inner movements of one's psyche, then you begin to understand if you can deal with that person, if you can make a relationship with that woman or however, or not. The beauty is, yeah, it's the trap. We just once we see someone's, nice legs or the boobs or face and the hair and all that, You don't see anything else. Oh yeah, she's perfect. Yeah. What can I do for you? That's the way you are. So be aware of your own shortcomings. We all are vulnerable. Don't think women are vulnerable. We are more vulnerable because these women, it's not that they're so smart. It's because we seeking pleasure through intimacy, and they represent intimacy, and we are programmed for procreation. We're programmed to pursue beautiful woman, beautiful female. And so we can't think any further. That's our problem. So you got to be a little bit wiser to protect yourself and not fall into a dish or ditch, you know. All right. Um, all right. Majid Buluri is here. Says, Bahba Ustad Mehran. Merci again. I would love to send you picture of my engagement. Please let me know if you would like to receive. Yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. Go ahead, send it to my email. You know my email, don't you? I don't know if you can. You can probably send it through the site. Can you not? Or send me a message through the site, and I'll send you my email so you can then send me the pictures. Steven says, I wish things were different at the moment, Meron. But you keep wishing. You make things happen. Nothing by wish can be fixed up. You are the wish. You're the wish maker. Go make it happen. It's all in your hands. So I have this pain in my heart that doesn't go away. Well, because you don't want it to go away. You've chosen to be there. Once you understand your worth and value, then you stop giving the rat's ass about her or whatever the fuck that relationship was. I mean, how can you really think this makes sense that your whole life is hanging on someone's what? What? Good behavior? Loyalty? Her good looks? Her beautiful body? Her balance? Her reasonability? What the fuck is it that you think you should be there loyal to that bullshit of a relationship of yours? What is it? As I said, what are you hung up on? Her looks? She didn't have much, if any. Her body was like a sausage. What? No shape to it. Attitude? What attitude? Always, trying to put you down and make you feel like you're not good enough. Loyalty? Well, she just ran away with somebody else and fucked and came back to you. So, what the fuck is it that you think she's so special? That you can't move on? Something in your heart. What? Nothing in your heart. It's just a fart. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's bullshit. You brainwash yourself that she's something. No, you're just thinking about the pleasurable moments that you had with her, and you have replaced who she is with those pleasurable moments. That's not her. In those pleasure moments, there was a you who made that to be pleasurable for you. It was your desire for pleasure that made something pleasurable seem so important and pleasurable. It wasn't all her, because if you leave it to her, she was all fucked up, wasn't she? No accountability, no reliability, no beauty, no nothing, no loyalty. No, what the fuck you want? I have a very wise sentence for you. Everything is concentrated in that particular words that I'm going to give you, and that will probably be the solution. of your problems. Fuck you. You're an idiot. Honestly, Jesus. From now on, your fees are doubled. I'll charge you double because you're pissing me off. All right. Ayushman sister, I have this weird thought that my ex and my best friend might come in a relationship, have sex, even when my best friend was clear many times. Don't give a shit. Yeah, she probably, if you think that way, they probably will have. Maybe they're fucking right now. Just get it in your head, get it over with. Don't hold yourself hostage with all these thoughts and fears and all that shit. Yeah, they're fucking right now. So that's the end of that. Move on, find another girl. Wasn't 3 years enough that you were hanging on for your balls and waiting? Give me a kiss, will you? How beggars can a man can be in these situations? Why can't you be selective and have honor and respect for yourself? Remember how much investment, time, energy, your parents, everything spent on you to become who you are. And all of that is summed up in someone's vagina. Oh, if I can't have her, I'm nobody. That's it? That's it? That's your life? Ayushman, fuck off. Go get another girl. Next time I see you, talk to me. Tell me that you simply don't give a shit who fucks her, who doesn't, and you had learned your lesson. You shouldn't wait for 3 years for a girl, and go do your own things and find another girl, decent girl, someone who wants to be committed to you. And don't just wait around like a puppy dog. Will you let me one day to take you out? Yeah, I want to take you out. Do you want to come or not? No? Fuck it. Bye bye. Next time. Ask 2 times for a girl for an outing. If she doesn't accept, ditch her. Bye bye. Okay. Thomas Joseph says the first 2 weeks it was like constant intrusive thoughts slowed down drastically, and I am just wondering, even though now I do not have intrusive thoughts as much. Okay, where's is there a question here somewhere? Okay, hang on, guys. I give you a break. I'll be right back. I'll just warm up my tea. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, we're back. Let me see if I can make this little cleaner lens. Looks like a little foggy. Hang on. It's better, is it? All right. I think it's a bit better. So, where were we? Penguin says, thank you so much, Miran. This OCD took over HOC. Okay. RQKZ. So sometimes I wake up in the morning, heart beating fast because I can't believe I'm going through this. Just want to live life again. It's between 3 and 4 months. Going through what? Did I miss your other question? Uh, I don't see any other question, so I don't know what it means, what your question means. All right. Uh, Thomas says, hey man, question thoughts disappeared. Question thoughts disappeared. It's been about 3 weeks. However, I mean, here and there would get intrusive thoughts, maybe one or twice a couple of days. However, the memory I had, those thoughts are there. Thomas, you're talking in riddles. I don't understand what you're referring to. This is a problem with live streams when there's so many questions come after each other. I can't follow your script or questions, so I don't really get it. So, however, you guys, if you really have some issues that you want to discuss with me and have dedicated time, go on my site mind@seekstruth.com, make an appointment for Skype chat, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one on one on Skype. Here is just a little bits of of different topics that we talk about, and I can only say so much. But specifically honing on what your concerns are, it got to be interactive so I can ask questions, go back and forth with you, and then open it up for you. It's my site, so you can always go there, make an appointment. And for newcomers, for 1 hour appointment, I usually add up to 30 minutes extra. That's on me for the first session. And of course, after that, it's going to be just what it is, 1 hour. Um, RQKZ, I don't quite follow. You see, I remember I got so scared of these thoughts. What thoughts are you talking about? One time I had to go to the hospital. You had anxiety, yeah? Panic attack, yeah? So that's why, so that my heart could slow down and come down. Look, these feelings are just a threat that is created by the meaning of a thought and the imagination of thought ever becoming true. But you see, because brain can't understand and recognize virtuality and actuality, and brain is very powerful on the body. It can make the body feel things that is really not happening. You can have you can imagine you're in a vineyard in France and you have sour grapes in your mouth, tasting it, and then a lime is being squished in your mouth, and you have saliva already. But there is no lime, there is no grape, sour grape, green sour grape right now. It's not out of season. So there's no such thing, but you have secretion of salivation right here in your mouth by imagining. The mind, the brain has very is very powerful to create all this, and because to the brain it cannot recognize virtuality and actuality. That's why it actually enjoys some virtual memories and sticks with them thinking that it's actual, because it cannot tell the difference between actuality and virtuality. So you settle with these past memories as a pleasure point with your life, and then you become lazy and sit on your ass and never go out and actually find a girl or experience whatever it is that you want to experience, because the brain again cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality. You can, but the brain cannot, because you have other apparatus and all together makes you. But the brain is just a brain, lives in virtual world. So everything in virtual world of itself that it conjures up is actually actuality. The virtuality for the brain is its actuality as well. It cannot tell the difference. And this is why when a thought shows up in your brain, you actually think, wow, my goodness, it's real. It's not real. It can never be real, because you're the boss, you're the master. But you've been fooled to think that the brain is the master and the brain is you and you're the brain. It's not true. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. So when a thought shows up, its power on the body can unleash itself because the brain believes that is true. But you are the one to guide it and say that is not true. that's what that's what you're supposed to have, that conversation with your brain. And if the brain understands or not doesn't matter. You got to be aware of it. Don't try to convince the brain. You just know that, like, there's a crazy person beside you. Don't try to convince the crazy person that Trudeau is an asshole. Just the fact that you know it's enough. So don't try to convince a crazy person about a certain point before you move on. The fact that you know it's a crazy person, you don't need to convince him, as long as you know what the point is and you go on. Same thing when the brain shows up with something, you don't need to converse with it and argue with it and convince it that it's wrong and it shouldn't have that thought in your brain. You just recognize that it's not in line with your values. That's enough, and you go on, because it's all about you, not the brain. If you understand that, then you understand why you hang around in there, because when the brain suggests something to it, it feels its actuality, so it makes the body feel like it's actuality and reacts to it as if it's actuality. But you know better, because you know the difference between actuality and virtuality. So you will just veto it, says, no, that's bullshit. Just move on. Whatever the thought, image, and suggestion the brain comes up with, you don't have to be afraid of it, because you know it has no truth as far as the boss is concerned, which is you. The brain can think whatever it wants. The brain is just an idiot, asshole, crazy piece of apparatus, nothing more. Brain is not your intellect. Brain is not intellectual. Brain is not your smarts. Brain is a tool, apparatus, an organ. It has its own shortcomings like any other organs, and sometimes it comes in the form of OCD and OCD subsets, such as HOCD, harm OCD, responsibility OCD, religiosity OCD, all kind of other OCDs. All right. Having said that, let's move on to all right, guys. I think it's time for me to mosey on out. But I have to read this very, very important message. It came from a very reputable person is Aaron Swishmez says, Mehran, you're so smart. See, I thought that must be broadcasted. Thank you, Aaron. You don't know half of it. I'm so dumb. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know anything. That's pretty much it. All right, guys. It's time for me. It's now been an hour and a half, and I think today is a short time in the gym. They're open from 7 to 7. So before I go see my mom at the care center, I want to hit the gym a little bit, and then because there would be no time afterwards. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.